As of right now, in the United States, there has only been 3 major roller coasters to open up this year. And the way things are shaping up, I expect it to remain that way. Fortunately, as the release of this video, I have ridden 2 of these new additions for 2020. Orion, a B&M Giga located at Kings Island, and the star of today's video, Candymonium, a B&M Hyper located at Hersheypark. Standing 210 feet tall, Candymonium is the tallest roller coaster at Hersheypark, barely beating Skyrush. With 4,600 feet of track, Candymonium is one of the shorter hypercoasters, but still 1,000 feet longer than Skyrush. Before diving into my review, I think the one major question many coaster enthusiasts or fans of Hersheypark have on their mind is why another hypercoaster? Skyrush is a pretty good hypercoaster, so why build another one? Well, I plan on tackling that question in today's review, so let's get to it. Presentation. To start things off, let's talk about the name, Candymonium. In the recent past, I made a video discussing some good roller coaster names, and Candymonium was featured on that list. I know that some of you were scratching your heads because let's be honest here, Candymonium doesn't strike you as a name that would work on a hypercoaster. In fact, the name is downright unusual. Well, from a marketing standpoint, the name is genius. Not only does it tie in with the nature of Hershey's overall business, candy, it really sticks with you. I doubt you'll be forgetting the name Candymonium anytime soon. Beyond the name, the coaster is perfectly staged near the park entrance, and once the fountain gets up and running, this coaster is going to look amazing. The station isn't anything special, but gives homage to the various chocolate bars and candy that are represented by the ride. Each train is themed to a different candy, Hershey Kisses, Reese's, and Twizzlers. The color on each train really pops and looks great against the dark brown track. From what I hear, the ride looks amazing at night, with the lighting package that brightens up the station and brake run. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to stay that late on the day I was at Hershey, and now that the park only is scheduled to stay open until 7 p.m. every evening, so this feature will have to wait to shine until 2021. Hersheypark is not a theme park, but rather a well-kept, beautiful-looking amusement park. And Candymonium, once all construction on the surrounding area is complete, will be their best-looking area of the park. If there is one negative aspect of this new entrance area is the lack of shading. I am assuming once some of their newly planted trees start growing in, we'll get some more shade. But as of right now, when it's a hot summer day, this section of the park will be unbearably hot. Thankfully, as far as I can tell, the entire queue is located under the station, so it's completely shaded. Presentation earns a solid 10 rating. Ride intensity. If you've ridden a B&M Hyper before, I assume you've already have an idea of what this ride intensity will be like. For the most part, Candymonium matches expectations but still has a few tricks up its sleeve, delivering some stronger Gs and airtime than what I was expecting. For a roller coaster that's 210 feet tall, the ride looks a lot shorter when you're staring at it from the park gate. Candymonium is somewhat built in a valley, so the station is lower down on the hill than where the park entrance is, making the ride look a little shorter. Once you are standing next to the ride, you really soak in how tall this attraction is. The lift moves rather fast, pulling you to the top in about 25 seconds. It's not as fast as the lift on Skyrush, but enough to get the ride moving and get your heart racing as you make your way to the top. The first drop on Candymonium is one of my favorite first drops on any B&M Hyper. It gives some great airtime in the back row while giving you some of that hang time sensation up front while waiting for the train to crest the hill. The first airtime hill is what I'm calling the best part of the entire ride. During my rides in the last or next to last rows, I experienced a solid 4 seconds of weightlessness flying over this hill. It's a great moment of airtime and probably one of the longest sustained moments of airtime out there. The turnaround isn't much to talk about, but it still keeps the speed and provides some stronger Gs than what I was expecting. The second airtime hill is probably the most disappointing airtime hill, and that's because of the trim brakes. If you are sitting up front, you will get 0 airtime, but for those in the back, you'll still get a little floater air. Every time I rode this roller coaster, which my current ride count is 6, the trims were noticeable. The next hill is the speed hill, which is where you will experience the strongest moment of airtime. This speed hill delivers a nice dose of ejector. The first helix is where you will experience the strongest G-forces. I personally started to gray out during this moment on almost every ride. I understand why the trim brakes are placed before this element, because I could only imagine how intense this helix would be without them engaging. After the helix, the ride performs the most unique element of the coaster, and that's the banked drop piercing through the lift hill supports. It's a fun moment and probably my second favorite moment of the ride. Not only are you getting some airtime, but you feel like you are falling out of your seat to the left. Oh, and watch out for that beam. Candymonium has a fun near miss here that will make you question if you should put your hands back down. The next airtime hill also features another trim, but I think this one is a hit or miss. Sometimes it would slow the train down, while other times you'd still get some airtime out of the hill. The front row seems to be the best place for this airtime moment, but any other row won't drastically decrease your ride experience. The finale, which is a giant helix around the fountain, would make for one epic moment if the fountain was running, but for now we'll just have to imagine what the fountain will look like. After the helix, the ride performs one quick airtime hill before slamming into the brakes. Candymonium has a slightly weird brake setup as the train stops only then to perform one more quick turnaround into the final brake run. It's almost like a mid-course brake run, but at the very end of the ride. Now, the brake system is set up like this so that they can operate with 3 trains, which the park was doing during my visit. Overall, intensity is about on par with other B&M hypers, so I'd say a rating of 7.5 sounds about right. Fun factor. Probably the most important category for Candymonium. Is this coaster fun? Well, I'm happy to report that Candymonium is a blast. The intensity may not knock your socks off, but I don't think that's what this ride was aiming for. If you want intensity, just head on over to Skyrush. Candymonium is a fun-filled ride from beginning to end. Every airtime hill had me laughing. Candymonium technically has some ejector airtime, but I think I'm going to create a new classification of airtime and call it graceful ejector. The ride is clearly throwing you out of your seat, but not violently like on a RMC or Skyrush standing right next to Candymonium. The airtime sensation is like when you are young and your dad would toss you up into the air. It's ejector airtime, but done gracefully. The coaster still has floater airtime, which is basically what the first airtime hill is all about. I never felt like it was ejecting me out of my seat, but I was clearly floating along for the entirety of that element. So, to the question from earlier, why build another hypercoaster? Well, your answer is in this category. It's the fun factor. Yes, both Skyrush and Candymonium are hypercoasters, but they feel like completely different types of coasters. Skyrush is super intense, delivering multiple moments of violent ejector airtime, while Candymonium is a coaster that everyone in the family will enjoy riding together. I can only take a few rides on Skyrush before my thighs need a break from all the crushing. Candymonium, I could literally strap in and ride this thing all day long. Fun factor gets a perfect 10 rating. Originality. Alright, as of today there are 17 Hyper Giga coaster models by B&M in operation around the globe. With that said, is it even possible for Candymonium to find a little originality? I say yes. The ride still follows your typical hypercoaster formula, but the ending really mixes things up to keep this coaster unique from other models. When that fountain is operational, the interaction with that and Skyrush is going to make Candymonium really stick out from among the pack. That dived bank drop through the support structure is also another neat element that you really don't find on other B&Ms. Well, except for Orion, but we'll talk about that later. Candymonium delivers what you are looking for, which is airtime, all while still performing a few neat tricks. I think Originality gets a score of 8. Ride smoothness. Coasters by B&M are known for being super smooth, so does Candymonium continue the trend? Almost. Sitting up front, the ride was butter smooth, but as you worked your way to the back, there was a slight rattle, maybe more of a vibration. It's nothing really worth writing home about, but for those who are really picky, it's definitely noticeable. Candymonium, like other hypercoaster models by B&M, featured the clamshell restraint, so even if there was a full-blown rattle, I wouldn't mind it. The restraints are really comfortable and quite possibly my favorite restraints on any roller coaster. As much as I'd like to give Candymonium a perfect 10 rating in this category, that ever so slight rattle makes me give Candymonium a 9.5. Alright, the final score comes to 9, which is a fantastic score. Honestly, Candymonium delivers in every way you would expect. It's a near smooth ride with fun moments of airtime and park interaction. Because B&Ms are capacity monsters, guests should be able to squeeze in multiple rides on this coaster during their visit to Hersheypark, especially after the pandemic ends. My personal final score is going to be a 9.5, which is a near perfect score. The main reason I didn't rank this a perfect 10 is because of one aspect I've yet to talk about, and that's the ride's length. Even though this coaster is about 800 feet shy of being 1 mile long, the ride just feels short. The ride feels like it's missing one more moment of floater airtime, but this is probably me just being picky. The coaster never feels like it loses momentum, and it's possible that that one more element would drive down the momentum. Regardless of the ride length, Candymonium is a solid addition to Hersheypark, one that I'm looking forward to riding again soon. Well, thank you for watching today's review. Have you had the opportunity to ride Candymonium yet? If so, let me know all about your ride experience in the comments. Also, please remember to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. You don't want to miss out on more great content coming your way by Extreme Thrills.